Everyone's been talking about Jin, Endeavor, Shotaka, and yeah, those dudes are straight garbage, trash, absolutely evil for no damn reason. And I'm not here trying to defend them. I wouldn't even want them to be my dad, not gonna lie. But if you're being serious, if you're being for real, the anime community has been sleeping heavy on some of the actual worst dads in the anime community. These niggas' decision makings are so diabolical that calling them the worst is honestly a massive understatement. They've just been sliding under the radar because everyone thinks they are too cool, or we just let the trauma slide just because of bias. But today, the free pass is officially over. We're gonna expose each one of them. 5 fathers who no one actually talks about or barely talks about, but as bad as the rest. And I promise you, by the time we hit the #1 spot on this list, you're gonna be sitting there feeling straight up disgusted and uncomfortable with what it did to their own children. So grab a seat and please watch till the very end because I need those watch hours. Let's dive into it. Kicking this list off, I already know some of you are gonna be mad about this one, but I don't give a fuck. Number 5 has to be Minato the Hokage, aka the Yellow Flash, one of the most glazed characters in the entire Naruto franchise, and low-key a fraudulent ass father. And I can already see some of you typing aggressively, oh, but he loved Naruto, oh, he didn't have a choice, oh, he sacrificed himself, oh, he believed in his son. Shut that shit up. This nigga knew for 9 whole months that his baby mama's cell was getting weaker. He knew the Nine Tails was gonna have to be dealt with the second Naruto was born. This wasn't some last-second pop quiz that he had no idea about. Bro had time, bro had resources, bro had the Hokage, the smartest ninja in the village, the fastest ninja in the village. He had the Ambu, he had Jiraiya, he had the third Hokage, he had literally the entire Lee village behind him. And after all that, the best plan this so-called genius could come up with was, yeah, let's put the strongest tail base on earth inside my newborn baby. That is one of the worst plans ever. Naruto didn't even get a chance to cry before they turned him into a walking jail cell, a walking nuke. His very first day in the world, his own dad looked at him and said, congratulations, little bro, here's the strongest monster in history ever, and good luck with that. Then died and dipped. And now before y'all start typing essays, yes, Minato loved Naruto, I'm not arguing that, but loving your kid doesn't magically make every decision you make a good one, because Minato knew what was gonna happen. He knew the village was gonna look at Naruto different. He knew people would fear him. He knew folks was gonna treat that little boy like he was the Ninth Tail. He literally looked at his newborn son and basically said, I believe in you, gang, then clocked out permanently before Naruto could even remember what his parents looked like. Naruto grew up eating by himself, getting kicked out of stores, getting dirty looks every time he walked down the street. Kids treated him like he was sick. Teachers acted like he never existed. The whole village hated this nigga and he didn't even know why. Imagine everybody hating on you like you committed a crime and you don't even know what the crime is. That is literally Naruto's entire childhood. All because of a decision his own dad made on day one. Good intentions don't erase bad consequences. Did Minato love Naruto? Absolutely. But did he accidentally ruin the boy's entire childhood? 1000%. These two things can be true at the same time. That is why he's coming in at number 5. He was a certified fraud that no one talks about all the time. Now moving into some genuinely sick people, let's talk about Gendo Ikari. See, Minato was a bad dad because of a horrible decision, but Gendo, this man was built different. This man woke up every day and chose violence. His wife died during an experiment, which I honestly feel bad for him. It was absolutely terrible and absolutely heartbreaking, I'm not gonna lie. But instead of grieving, instead of raising his son, instead of acting like a normal human being, this nigga made it his life decision to bring his wife back from the dead. And guess who had to pay the price? His own son, Shinji. Bro hadn't seen his dad in years. He didn't get no birthday cards, no phone calls, no letters, nothing. This man disappeared like he owned child support. Then one day out of nowhere, Shinji finally sees his father again after all those years. And you know what Gendo says immediately after seeing his son? He doesn't say, son, I'm sorry, or I missed you. Nah, this man looked at his own kid dead in the face and basically said, get in the robot. That was their reunion. No emotions, no hugs, no loves, just you're useful to me now. And that's what makes Gendo much worse than even Minato. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't because he was too busy. He wasn't trying his best. He chose to stay away from his own child because according to him, getting close to people meant he might get them hurt too. So he sacrificed his son's entire childhood instead. That's one selfish ass nigga. And somehow it gets worse because Gendo's master plan wasn't just crazy. It was straight up insane, diabolical. This man basically wanted to erase every single person in the world. You, me, they, them, it doesn't matter. He wanted to get rid of individuality and humanity. Also, he could see his dead wife again. Think about how insane that is. Your son is literally standing right next to you, alive, breathing, begging for your approval, and you're talking about ending the entire human race because you cannot move on. This is all happening while his own son is basically hanging on mentally on a thread. His own son had crippling anxiety, zero confidence, cannot connect with people, constantly questioning his own worth, all because his own dad treated him like an experiment, like an employee instead of family. family. Every breakdown Shinjin had, every panic attack, every emotional collapse, you can trace it right back to Gendo. Break by break, decision by decision, he built that trauma himself, then had the audacity to act surprised when his own son was broken. This nigga was a coward, a fraud, and an absolute horrible father, which is why he's a number 4. Now let's talk about One Piece. Let's talk about Homing, Doflamingo's father, and I bet half of y'all forgot this man even had a name. This man was born as a celestial dragon, a world noble, the highest class of people in the entire One Piece world. These folks were so arrogant that they didn't even want to breathe the same air as everybody else. They walked around with bubbles on their head like the rest of humanity got COVID or flu or something. Nobody could touch them, nobody could question them. They had everything: power, money, protection, the whole package. Then one day, Homing woke up and said, I don't want to live like this no more. Now don't get me wrong, morally that's respectable. I'm not saying that it's not. The problem is this man made one of the biggest decisions of his life without thinking about his kids for even 2 seconds. The second they gave up that celestial dragon status, everything went to hell, because all those people that had been abused, humiliated, stepped on for generations finally had somebody they could take out their anger out on, and they did that immediately. The whole family got hunted, dragged through the streets, beaten, starved, humiliated. They went from living like royalty to living worse than beggars overnight. And remember, Doflamingo and his other siblings were just children, little children. They didn't ask for any of this. They just woke up one day and lost literally everything. Then it got even worse. Their mother got sick, couldn't survive, and died right in front of them. Imagine watching your mama die because your dad made a decision he never fully thought through. Now here's where Homing completely lost me. Instead of actually having an actual plan, instead of preparing his family, instead of making sure his children will be safe, this man folded instantly, got down on his knees and started writing letters begging the celestial dragons to take him back. The same people he proudly walked away from. Bro stood on business for about 3 business days. Meanwhile, his sons are out here getting chased, getting jumped by entire towns, bleeding, starving, watching their whole world fall apart. And then Doflamingo picked up a gun, pointed it at his own father at the age of 10 and basically shot him in the head. Now obviously killing your own dad is crazy, I'm not defending that, but can you at least understand how we got here? Because Homing completely flipped his children's life upside down, had absolutely no backup plan, then crumbled the second reality points him in the face. So the monster Doflamingo didn't come from eating a devil fruit. It didn't start when he became a pirate. It started the moment his dad decided to make a life-changing decision without ever thinking about his kid or his wife or anybody but himself. And that is where the villain was born. That is why Homing is a number 3, because no one mentions this nigga at all. He always escapes somehow. But today he's getting exposed. Now this one might be the hottest take in the whole video, Fugaku Uchiha. And I know Naruto fans, before y'all start typing essays in my comment, just hear me out, because Fugaku might be one of the most underrated bad fathers on this entire list. The reason no one talks about him is because on the surface he looks like a good dad. He was around, he trained Sasuke, he praised Itachi, he wasn't out here disappearing for 10 years like Jin, he wasn't treating his son like a science project like Gendo. From the outside he just looks straight, not evil, and that's exactly why he's so dangerous, because when you actually peel back the layers, this man was the biggest reason his children ended up the way they were. So let's talk about it. Fugaku was the leader of the Uchiha clan, one of the most powerful families in the Hidden Leaf, and after the Naito's attack, the village started treating them like suspect. They got pushed to the edge of the village, constantly watched, constantly distrusted, and before anybody would say it, they had every right to be angry. The leaf did them dirty, and I'm not arguing that, but here is where Fugaku lost me. Instead of looking for another solution, this man decided, let's overthrow the entire government. Bro's answer to discrimination was civil war. Think about how insane that sounds. A full-blown coup d'etat inside the village where both of your sons live, where they grew up, where they got friends, where innocent people got absolutely nothing to do with the conflict. This wasn't just risking his own life, he was gambling everybody else's too, including his own children. Now we get to that night. The night everything fell apart. Itachi comes home, tells Fugaku the truth, the mission, what's about to happen, and Fugaku already knows it's over. And now a lot of people look at what happened next and say, man, Fugaku accepted his death with honor. But now I see something completely different, because when Fugaku looked at Itachi and said do it, he wasn't just accepting his own death, he handed his son the most impossible burden imaginable. Imagine being 17 and your dad basically tells you kill your entire family, protect your little brother, never explain yourself, let the world hate you forever, then die with the secret. That's not a burden, that's a life sentence. From that moment on, Itachi never got to live for himself. He became a criminal, a traitor, a murderer in everybody's eyes. The entire village hated him. The Akatsuki used him. His own little brother spent spent years trying to kill him, and the craziest part is that he couldn't defend himself, he couldn't tell the truth, he couldn't clear his name. He had to carry all that pain because his father's decisions put him in that position. People always say the worst thing a parent can do is abandon their child or abuse them, but sometimes the worst thing you can do is to make your children clean your own messes. Fugaku did exactly that, one of the biggest frauds in Naruto, exactly why he's number 2 on this list. And now number 1 on this list, the father that makes everybody else on this list look like they just need family counseling, Yujiro Hanma from Baki. And I'm not gonna lie, this man isn't a bad father, he's barely a father at all. See, everybody else I've been talking about today, we can at least find something human in them. Minato loved Naruto, Gendo was consumed by grief, Homing made a terrible decision, Fugaku thought he was protecting the clan. You can disagree with them, but at least you can understand where they are coming from. Yujiro on the other hand, nah, there is nothing to save him. This man is literally built different in the worst way possible. Bro is the strongest creature alive, not human, creature. This man punched an earthquake into submission, walked into wars by himself, had entire militaries looked at him and said, yeah, we are not fighting that. The United States government literally got a peace treaty with one man, not because they respected him, but because they knew they were gonna get packed up. That's how ridiculous this dude is. Now here's the part that made me sick. This man decided to have a son. You're thinking maybe he wanted to start a family. Nope. Or maybe he wanted to leave a legacy. Nope. Or maybe he wanted someone to carry his last name. Nope. This psychopath wanted an opponent, and that's it. Baki wasn't born because he was loved. Baki wasn't born because he was wanted. Baki was born because Yujiro wanted somebody as strong enough to fight him one day. Imagine your entire existence being because your daddy needs a training dummy. That's insane. That is diabolical. And how do you raise your son? Teach him life lessons? Spend time with him? Love him? Nah. Yujiro's version of parenting was basically, if he dies, he wasn't wealthy enough. This man constantly threw Baki into situations where death was a real possibility. Not to protect him, not to prepare him for life. He wasn't raising a son, he was just testing a weapon. Now if all that wasn't enough, here's the moment that locked him in the number 1 spot forever, because Baki actually had one person who cared about him, and which was his mom. And now, don't get me wrong, she wasn't perfect either. She had her own issues, but at the end of the day, she loved Baki. She was there for him, she raised him, she believed in him. In a life full of violence, she was the closest thing Baki had to a real parent. Then one day, after Baki finally impressed Yujiro finally looked at his son and thought, this boy might actually have some potential. So what does he do? This man pulled up to his house and killed Baki's mom right in front of his own son, snapped her neck and dropped her body and smiled and walked away like he forgot to grab groceries. No anger, no argument, no hesitation. She had served her purpose, so he got rid of her, like throwing her away like an empty water bottle. Imagine watching your father murder the only person who genuinely ever loved you, then smile at your face before leaving. Like, what do you even do after that? And that is why Yujiro is different from everybody else on this list. Everybody else had at least one moment where you could see a little bit of humanity, and one crack in the armor, one sign that maybe deep down they still cared. Yujiro has nothing like that. He's just a monster. No guilt, no regret, no remorse. He brought a child into this world for entertainment, turned his son's entire life into a long surviving test, killed the only person that ever loved him, and slept like a baby afterwards. And that's not just a bad father, that's not just a neglectful one, that's a whole demon pretending to be somebody's daddy. And I don't care how strong he is, I don't care how many fights he's won, I don't care how many people glazing because he made Baki stronger. None of that actually changes who he actually is. Yujiro Hanma is the worst anime dad of all time, and honestly it's not even close. He's a certified fraud for real, and he doesn't even care. Honestly, all I'm saying is bullshit to him probably. Anyways, that'll be all for today. I decided to go off a different list from the usual one because I already made this video before. That's why I'm using new people this time. So for my list, if you already paid attention, you're still here. You know, Yujiro, Fugaku, Homing, Gendo, Minato. These are the fathers that everyone keeps basically sleeping on or barely talk about. Now I want to know, who did I miss? Or drop your list, drop your top 5 anime worst dads in the comments right now. I know somebody is cooking up a name I didn't put up here, so let me know. And if you're new here, please don't forget to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and share this video so this video can basically gain more viewers and can actually potentially blow up this time. Till next time, au revoir.